Yo, what is good, my anime people? What is good, yo? So, one of my favorite series drops its episode today, drops every Thursday, and that would be this circus show where we have finally really understood the origins of two very important aspects in the show. One being where and why the disease, like why the disease is there and where it came from. Is we learned all that in this episode. We kind of learned where it came from more, less from like just like a hint, general sense of where it came from, as in this Midnight Circus. But now we actually know who created it, why it was created, and even um, who else kind of influenced it to maybe turn into what it would amount to for others. And so, what all transpires as we find out after our character, who pretty much is Yin, or Y-I-N, sorry, um, when he gets married and starts to enjoy his life. Like, not even long after, his brother ends up taking Farnese, taking his girl, and running away. And he doesn't end up finding her until around 9 years later. So he's already quite, like, old, and not old, but like his body is like got a lot of wear and tear on it, simply because he's not doing things like a normal person would in 9 years. He's searching. He's always on the move. He's always, probably spending more money on information than he is on himself to eat. Like, things like that are what really are his true outcomes of where all of his labor is going to, is literally towards finding her and making sure she's okay and stuff. But at the same time, we're learning that, it's possible that she could be dead. It's possible that they could have died together and all this stuff. But he ends up finding him, to find his brother alone, in a house, pretty much working as an alchemist. So who know? I think like maybe he's probably been working there for like 3 years, 4 years maybe. Um, because by the tell of it, it seems like these villagers pretty much catch wind of her being sick, and because of her being sick, they want to pretty much like contain it. They're like quarantining her so she doesn't hurt anybody or allow anybody else to get sick, is what they think they're doing. So with that being said, we're in a position. Oh wow, he died there. Crazy. We're in a position where not only are, like the brothers suffering, like both brothers are suffering. One can't even see the girl, the other guy has the girl, and she's like in a prison cell that a villager's made with. Somehow they just knew iron bars were good, even though they only made the place out of wood. They seemingly used all the strongest stuff just for the prison. So these are some pretty intelligent villagers, to not just put her in some place that almost anybody could break her out of. But with the sickness, she pretty much sees the guy that she actually truly loves for the first time in all this time, and thinks it's an illusion. So not only has she been like pondering and thinking about him and having illusions about him, uh, she then goes to tell us that, or she at least shows us that she never really tried to run away from him. She really never seemingly, despised him for the thing that he did. The younger brother who, brought her to this village to pretty much be put in this situation. So it really hurt, man, to see that all of these things that, she was going through, she still was thankful in the moment for pretty much being loved and being happy at one point of life, that she doesn't mind suffering at all at any other time for someone else. So Sorry, I got a little choked up just like overall thinking about it. It kind of hurt to say that and to also know that you can't really do anything about those types of situations that still occur in these everyday life. So it kind of puts in perspective maybe like what the author has seen or what even the author has read or heard from from generations and stuff like that. It makes you want to at least appreciate that there are some people out there that came from just humble beginnings 100%, and because of all the trials and different things that try to stop them from being humble, it never ever won because they still were that person all the way until death. Um, and so for her spending 9 years with the younger brother and not the man she pretty much vowed to God, she wanted to take her own life knowing that she brought so much pain and suffering to him. I mean, she pretty much could guess he was alive and, maybe searching for her. Like if she I mean, that's kind of like a selfish thing for her, a person who's humble like her to imagine, like, oh, he's coming to get me. Like, she really believed that that was life for her. Like, that was supposed to go down the way it was supposed to go down. So, him showing up was probably the more um, evidence that she needed for what love truly could look like. And it's someone that would look 9 years nonstop for you. And then after finding out you're sick, pick up the work that he abandoned for you and then come up with the cure. And by the time he comes up with the cure, it just so happens to be on the same day where she practically chooses to. Uh, it seems like she chose to do this because for some reason it, like the from the villagers' reaction, or at least like the villagers trying to help the man at all, it seemed weird that they would care. Like they literally went out of their way to stop him from just being in there near her to now all of a sudden they're pulling him out of a burning building. Like why would they care? So it took over I think like 5 or something years while he was there like making the medicine. So I'm guessing he could have probably made better relationships than the brother did, seeing how he actually didn't just lose his whole entire mind. He actually cared to know what people were suffering through. He actually cared to do those things because that's also what his lover did. And I thought that was probably some of the most beautiful things too that this story is setting up. Because you got to remember, this is 36 episodes, baby, and this is just the beginning of their backstory. Like, oh my God, I feel like these people have watched JoJo, watched Hunter x Hunter, watched everything, and could imagine a story in their own rights and a story that doesn't steal from all those things, but at the same time, it makes better choices in this day and age where you have all the information you need for what a character. Like for instance, they like look at Marvel. They made all of these doo-doo villains like Red Skull, and then like now Red Skull is supposedly back, and people were like, "Oh man, he's probably a better villain now." Like Red Skull's still doo-doo. Like he was so doo-doo, he started following the orders of a stone that, you know, one person could possess him. Like he couldn't possess him because of a certain reason, but someone coming up and possessing that stone was the only reason why he was stuck there. So he literally was just being cooked by a soul stone after being beaten, and not even really beaten. He just decided to grab something that, was told to him probably multiple times that human hand shouldn't touch it. I mean, he actually saw it when he discovered it. Pretty sure someone touched it and died. So it's those types of things that those villains were trash, and then you go to a villain like Thanos, and you wouldn't imagine that they could have bad villains. You know what I mean? So with all that information that they have, they should, or Killmonger, for instance, too. Like it feels like those should be uh, villains you see throughout the whole entire series of the show or of the movies, but you don't. And that's what I feel like this show is doing right because the only villains that we really know all work for a certain like person or a certain someone. So not only were we like seeing what the villains would do if they got the money to do villainous things, but we don't know even what those people who paid those people to do those things because the only person we've seen that's paid to have the hunting done is the man that got his mansion like completely blown up and separated the characters. Like that was the first time we actually had a good look at what the heck these scumbags look like that would do this to a kid all for the money or, take him out so he just didn't share information that you didn't want him to share or something along those lines. So the whole crazy thing that this really brings me back to is just the whole narrative of why does this boy have supposedly the same named puppet as the person who had the name of the soft stone is the name of the puppet, and the soft stone was the cure. It was the answer to um, whatever disease Farnese had at the time, which it actually I think it was it? I can't remember now. I don't think she had that symptom. I think the worst thing about Farnese in the city at that time when he met her was that she was just a thief. And because she was thief, she was marked as one, which it was very easy to tell it. So it was easy to tell a thief from, uh, you know, an everyday person type of deal. So it's weird to think that um, she may have had the laughing disease, like she needed someone to laugh. No, I don't think she did. So okay, this will solve this for me because I'm pretty sure that's not how that part happened. But what did happen is um, once Farnese takes her own life because she didn't want to bring heartbreak to uh, our main character, she didn't want to be like that and have him like literally being okay with 9 years of not being together and not, seeing each other. And then on top of that, it's not like she hated the younger brother, including she probably never understood. Come on now. If someone's gonna do that and they don't despise you, I mean, sure, he could have said the most nastiest thing, which he probably did, seeing how he wasn't the same person that uh, we grew to know. But it's hard to say that he wouldn't he didn't just save face and try to be the man that she wanted in her life in the first place, like he tried to be good to her and all that stuff. So if that was the case and he made some lies up about the brother, like in any way shape or form, it just goes to show you that she never believed anything that was negatively told about him because of how she wanted to see him. So it made me feel like she was being told like either bad things on top of like being with him at times, like giving herself to him. Uh, I mean, she probably didn't have a choice, but at the same time, if she knew she wasn't going to get away and it was someone like him that also is related to, the person she loves, like I don't know, man. Like that's where it starts getting like me really heated and make me want to beat the crap out of that brother, but at the same time, it makes sense on because of that time and like era of just not really being able to comprehend that you can find someone else. I mean, sure, there is a whole thing called, there's one person out there for you, and sure, if she was the one for both of them, it's that's kind of rough. That's just like a rough fate, and your brother was the one who actually made her happy, so you destroyed her happiness for your own greed. So it's like, was she really the one for you if you are willing to take everything that she possesses that actually does make her happy away from her? I don't think you are. And because of all that, he remembered the main time where Farnice would smile and stuff like that. So that was the main thing he truly wanted to bring back is her smile, her laughing. Um, but what he didn't know is after she died and the older brother had us like a locket of her hair wrapped around his fist, he gave him that hair and he ends up using it to make a full-on animatronic person that looks exactly like her with her hair. I'm guessing it was probably her, maybe almost her body or like her DNA. Like he just literally used her DNA and like um, I don't even know, man. I actually would like to know where he got all of the parts to try to make her literally her. Besides the hair, I understand the hair, but to look exactly like her, um, to a point where he's like freaking outly happy that she looks the way that she does. But the only wrong thing about her is she wouldn't laugh. She wouldn't smile. She had no emotion. She was a toy. And this man actually thought it was her. So before he figured out that she's a toy, she's, never going to be able to do the things that you're hoping she does, he made the disease or like the whole ceremony, the thing that makes everybody choke and stuff like that. He goes and makes that, and by doing that, it spread for years and years and years to come, like over 20. He did that 29 years in that time period, and all that time went by and we're still seeing people obtain it. But the messed up part is that you never die. You pretty much become immortal because of that, and you literally just suffocate all the time. No one can make her laugh, not even the clowns that he brought, so he made a whole entire village that hurt her into the clowns. And they never made her laugh, so they all were just in that town torturing. And this is where the old woman's backstory comes into place. She meets a man who pretty much gave her the antidote through like a means of drinking it, and so that like helped her at least calm down from the whole like choking and stuff like that. So she had a way to like breathe and move around freely without like literally feeling like crap or like the other people who are just on the ground literally just suffocating. um and so he was so old and like tired and stuff like that that he knew there's no way he was going to continuously go on throughout this time. And this is what's interesting is I'm guessing somehow this old woman is a way connected to every single person that might have the disease now, in the sense of whoever had she could have birth, like because of she's healed. Everybody else was so much in pain. There was no way they would even be able to meet new people. So that wasn't even an option at that point. Um, but at the same time, it proved to us that we knew if she did get with somebody and have kids, they would have more and more of her traits passed down from just her, and they wouldn't even need to drink out of the well that he uses to help everybody else. So, with that, everybody, this episode was amazing. So much information. I'm sorry if this video is long or if it's short because I went through it so quickly, but with all these monsters I killed, I can kind of time myself through that, and I'm guessing this is quite a minute. So, thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoy your night, day, evening, morning, whatever the case it is when you're watching this, and thank you so much for the support. We're grinding so high. So make sure you guys drop a like because it helps the videos, and also share if you guys wouldn't mind so we get more subscribers and more people to talk to. Thank you. I am the Anime G, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.